One of the most influential voices in gospel music, Donnie McClurkin, was the target of startling death rumors that went viral on social media. Devastated, fans assumed the worst. However, McClurkin has now finally made his voice heard. And millions are in disbelief at what he disclosed, what actually took place, and what first caused these rumors to get out of hand. The reality behind this incident is much more nuanced than anyone could have ever guessed. So stay with me. Millions of gospel music fans worldwide find great resonance in Donnie McClurkin's name. Through some of the most difficult times in their lives, his songs have encouraged, uplifted, and inspired individuals. However, alarming claims that McClurkin had died recently went viral on the internet. The fans were devastated. Timelines began to overflow with tributes, and confusion quickly spread. Even though it all seemed dramatic, the reality was quite different. We will examine every aspect of these death rumors in today's video. Everything will be documented, from their beginnings to the fans' emotional reaction to Donnie McClurkin's own stirring speech to the globe. And believe me when I say that what you're about to hear will cause you to reconsider how tales circulate online, particularly when they involve well-known public personalities. Here, we're not merely discussing rumors. We're discussing the effects of misleading reports, how wrong information distorts reality, and how strong a gospel icon like McClurkin is to confront these misconceptions. You'll be amazed at how McClurkin himself decided to react, and you won't believe the series of events that led to this. This is where things get really fascinating, so hold on tight. Seldom do rumors begin quietly. Usually, they start with a spark. Additionally, social media was the catalyst in Donnie McClurkin's case. Only a few ambiguous posts were made at first. The gospel singer passed away, according to random users who claimed to have gotten this news from a trustworthy source. Just words entered into a timeline, no formal statement, no evidence. But that was all that was required, as we have repeatedly witnessed in this digital age. Screenshots soon started to circulate. Unverified pages posted things with headlines like "Rest in Peace," "Donnie McClurkin," or "Gospel Gone Too Soon." People who saw those messages didn't pause to consider whether they were accurate. Rather, they disseminated them while incorporating their own heartbreaking and sorrowful messages. Within hours, thousands of people believed the fake narrative, and McClurkin's name began trending. The speed at which false information spreads on social media in comparison to the truth is one of its main issues. Human nature is that way. Shocking headlines receive more clicks, and bad news spreads more quickly. The thought of losing such a strong voice in gospel music was devastating for Donnie McClurkin's admirers. Logic was thus subordinated to emotion. Soon, tributes started to show up in YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and TikTok. Videos of breaking news were being released in a hurry by creators. Some of them are making money off of the very rumor that hurt them so badly. This is when things become even more annoying. Small blogs were among the websites that carried the rumor. Without conducting any fact-checking, these clickbait-driven websites with thousands of followers repeated the untrue statements. It felt like confirmation to many fans when they saw it on a news website. It must be true after all, if it's on a web page. False. However, why McClurkin? Why did people assume he was dead so quickly? One of the reasons is that Donnie McClurkin has previously been quite forthcoming about his health issues. He has given accounts of overcoming life-threatening obstacles, overcoming illness, and surviving auto accidents over the years. Therefore, many people thought it was conceivable when news of his death surfaced online. They found it credible and didn't question it. However, Donnie McClurkin was still very much alive behind the scenes. He was probably not aware of the online storm that was building as he went about his day. But fans were left in a state of bewilderment, sorrow, and rage, unsure of what to believe. The surprising element that they don't want you to know is right here. Not all of these rumors were unintentional. In order to increase traffic, followers, and revenue, whole networks of false news producers purposefully spread celebrity death hoaxes. Unfortunately, Donnie McClurkin won't be the last target. He wasn't the first. This was only the start. But what really made this narrative unique was what transpired later. Because Donnie McClurkin's statements weren't merely a denial when he eventually spoke up. The message they conveyed resonated deeply with millions of people. Fans' reaction to the report of Donnie McClurkin's purported death was swift and massive on all social media channels. Timelines replete with posts about prayer, incredulity, and heartache. It felt as though McClurkin had abruptly lost a close friend, a spiritual mentor, and a guiding voice to those who had grown up listening to his music and who had relied on his songs during difficult or sad times. Thousands of tweets, including the hashtags "Rip Donnie McClurkin" and "Gone Too Soon," started to gain popularity. In their emotional tributes, other admirers shared how his ministry gave them hope when life seemed hopeless, or how his music stand helped them get through sadness. Some shared past church performances, music videos, or concert snippets as a way to honor and remember him. However, there was more to the reactions than just confusion and rage. Some admirers questioned the news's veracity right away. These skeptical voices were first muffled, but they sowed the seeds of doubt that ultimately led to the discovery of the truth. They wanted evidence, asking, "Where is the official statement? Why hasn't his family or church acknowledged this?" This was not just innocuous gossip, it was a lie that exploited people's grief and faith for clicks and attention. Imagine pouring your heart into a tribute post, crying over someone you thought had passed, only to discover later that it was all a hoax. For many, it felt like an emotional betrayal. McClurkin's special place in the gospel community made the situation even more agonizing. He is not just another celebrity, his music has been used as the background music for church services, weddings, funerals, and personal victories. Learning that he was leaving struck a deeper chord than a normal celebrity rumor. Faith communities around the world were rocked by it. Pastors, choirs, and gospel radio stations spread the rumor without knowing it was untrue. And some even went live on Facebook or Instagram to discuss McClurkin's legacy before having to take it down. This only made things worse and left fans unsure of whom to believe. However, while the fans were busy piecing together the truth, Donnie McClurkin himself remained silent, at least for a brief period of time. One of the most telling fan reactions was that of those who said, "This is why we need to protect our legends while they're still here." For these fans, the false rumor was a wake-up call, reminding them to express gratitude and appreciation for artists like McClurkin now, not just when tragedy strikes. When McClurkin finally addressed the rumors, he didn't just confirm that he was alive. He delivered a message that touched on something much deeper, something bigger than the rumor itself. However, that silence only served to increase speculation, with people wondering if he was really okay, if the family was hiding something, or if this was a cover-up. Fans were clamoring for clarification as the rumors raged online for days, and Donnie McClurkin's silence only served to intensify them. People started to wonder, why hasn't he said anything? Why doesn't his squad raise their voices? One of the harsh realities of the internet is that lies may take root and spread like wildfire if you don't act fast. However, Donnie McClurkin's words were strong, straightforward, and intensely personal when he finally spoke up, stating that he was very much alive and that the death rumors were untrue. In a heartfelt message to his fans, McClurkin not only reassured everyone that he was doing well, but also highlighted the harmful effects of false information. He acknowledged the innumerable messages and prayers he received and thanked everyone for their love. But he also talked about the needless suffering these rumors caused him and his loved ones. Imagine waking up to calls and texts from friends, family, and churchgoers who were all in a panic, believing you had passed away. Donnie McClurkin did more than just dispel the rumor. He used the grace and wisdom that have always characterized his ministry to transform the incident into a teaching moment. McClurkin talked about how extremely upsetting that experience was, not only for him, but also for his family, who had to deal with the chaos the internet had caused. He said in so many words that death is a reality we all must face one day, and he used this false report as an opportunity to talk about the fragility of life, the dangers of spreading unverified information, and the importance of focusing on the truth. His response reminded fans that while rumors can be hurtful, they can also serve as a reminder to cherish the people we love and value the present. His message struck a deep chord with his followers, transforming what could have been a time of confusion and chaos into a call for introspection and thankfulness. For many, his statement brought not only relief, but also a renewed appreciation for his life and ministry. Until then, however, he intended to live fully, serve faithfully, and continue his mission of spreading the gospel through music and ministry. "Thank God you're still with us, and we love you, Pastor Donnie," fans said on his social media accounts. Here's where it gets even more interesting. McClurkin's response sparked a much larger conversation about why celebrities, especially black gospel artists, are so frequently the targets of death hoaxes. Others wrote about how this experience made them realize how important it is to verify news before sharing it. This was more than just one man clearing up a rumor. It was a moment of cultural reflection. And the way Donnie McClurkin handled it with grace, honesty, and authority only served to further cement why he is so highly regarded not only as an artist, but also as a leader and spiritual figure. It sparked questions about how society consumes news, how quickly misinformation is monetized, and why people are more willing to believe shocking lies than verified truth. However, McClurkin's words brought relief, but they also revealed something darker, a troubling trend of celebrity death hoaxes that play on fans' emotions, and McClurkin's experience showed how dangerous and manipulative this trend can be. And the conversation didn't stop there. The story of Donnie McClurkin's purported death wasn't unique. Rather, it's a part of a troubling trend that has been plaguing the internet for years: celebrity death hoaxes, which are untrue reports that prominent people have died and are frequently disseminated via gossip blogs, social media, or dubious websites seeking clicks. Sadly, Donnie McClurkin is by no means the first victim of this cruel trend. Consider this. Almost every year, we read about a celebrity who was declared dead online only to turn up later, alive. And well, sometimes even laughing at the ridiculousness of it all. Actors, athletes, and musicians are all at risk, but gospel legends like Donnie McClurkin are especially at risk. The reason for this is that their fan base is extremely emotional, spiritual, and emotionally invested in their music. When fans learn that someone like McClurkin has passed away, they react emotionally right away. And for those who spread these rumors, that emotional response translates into traffic, shares, and ad revenue. Let's break it down. Clickbait. Sensational headlines are the foundation of entire websites. Donnie McClurkin dead at 64 sounds shocking. And people click, which generates revenue. Advertisers pay for traffic, and those who propagate these lies are aware of this. To them, it's a business, and they don't care about the truth, they care about making money. Social media's speed. In today's world, news doesn't spread slowly. Screenshots of a single false post can appear everywhere within minutes, and a lie can reach millions of people before the truth is even written. For someone like McClurkin, who has followers all over the world, it only takes a few viral tweets or Facebook shares to cause havoc. People found the rumor credible because they already knew that Donnie McClurkin had experienced hardships. In other words, the lie worked because it was based in partial truth, a risky strategy frequently employed by those disseminating false information. Donnie McClurkin was an easy target due to his openness about his health issues, accidents, and near-death experiences. When fans learn of his passing, it feels personal. They don't just lose a musician. They lose a pastor, a mentor, a voice that got them through the storm. This is because, unlike pop singers or movie stars, gospel artists like McClurkin are connected to people's spiritual lives. His music is sung in churches, played at funerals, and relied upon in times of need. In the digital age, outrage and heartbreak sells are the truth, which is why Donnie McClurkin was targeted, because the impact of his alleged death guaranteed traffic and attention. This level of emotional connection makes the rumor spread faster and hit harder, which begs the terrifying question: why do we as a society allow these hoaxes to thrive? The effects of these hoaxes, however, go far beyond clicks. They cause genuine harm, causing families to panic, Fans to suffer needlessly, churches to be rocked, and the celebrity at the center of it all to suffer greatly emotionally. Just picture logging onto the internet and discovering thousands of strangers lamenting your passing while you're still alive. Donnie McClurkin's experience brings this issue to light in a way that cannot be ignored because, even though the rumor itself may eventually fade, the harm it causes lingers. And if society doesn't start demanding accountability from platforms and creators who spread these lies, we'll continue to see this cycle repeat itself time and time again. Imagine having to call your family to reassure them you're alive. It's not just inconvenient, it's traumatizing. Even more powerful, though, is Donnie McClurkin's response, which not only exposed the cruelty of these hoaxes, but also sparked discussions about faith, legacy, and resilience. His ability to rise above the lies demonstrated to fans that, although rumors can shake us, they don't have to define us. However, one question still needs to be answered. This is where the story takes a deeper turn. How does a gospel legend move on after being wrongfully declared dead? What does this experience do to someone's faith, outlook, and mission in life? The fans' immediate relief was overwhelming once Donnie McClurkin made his official statement and the dust settled. However, the story didn't end with relief, it sparked something deeper within McClurkin and his community. And for Donnie McClurkin, this incident was more than just a rumor to dispel. Social media timelines changed from mourning and confusion to celebration and thanksgiving. And posts went from "Rip Donnie" to "Thank God Donnie is still with us." He talked candidly about the strange experience of seeing people mourn him while he was still alive, which would have been enough to make many celebrities run for cover, but McClurkin leaned into the lesson. A sobering reminder of the frailty of life and reputation in the digital age. In fact, according to multiple close sources, McClurkin used the experience as fuel for his faith, reminding his congregation and his fans that life is not promised and that each day should be lived with purpose. He also reaffirmed his commitment to continue serving, ministering, and using his voice to encourage others, reminding them that when lies or rumors spread, the truth always finds a way to surface. As fans went through their own emotional journey, many felt ashamed for believing the hoax so quickly and confessed that they hadn't bothered to check the news before posting. But for him, this wasn't just about correcting the record, it was also about urging others to be careful with the words they consume and share online. Church communities rallied, and pastors and choirs dedicated songs to McClurkin during services, not because he had passed away, but because they wanted to celebrate his continued life. Others acknowledged that the scare made them realize just how much McClurkin meant to them. Countless fans shared testimonies of how his ministry had changed their lives, almost as if the rumor had forced them to say out loud what they had always felt in their hearts. His greatest hits were played on gospel radio stations, transforming the fabricated death rumor into an unanticipated outpouring of gratitude, demonstrating that Donnie McClurkin was not only revered, but also adored. However, the fallout was not solely about relief and thankfulness, it also prompted important discussions about responsibility. Fans criticized gossip blogs and social media pages that disseminated the unsubstantiated rumor, and some called for apologies, while others called for social media sites like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to take action against death hoaxes. People started to realize that these rumors were more than just harmless gossip. They had serious repercussions. This was not just a public problem, it was a private one. Imagine having to console your loved ones because strangers on the internet declared you dead. The ordeal was particularly tough for McClurkin's inner circle, his family, close friends, and churchgoers. According to reports, several family members received frantic phone calls only to be forced to explain that Donnie was fine. Nobody should have to go through that. Despite this difficult aftermath, McClurkin chose to remain gracious, not criticize the people who spread the rumor or let resentment dictate his story. Instead, he urged people to take lessons from the incident, be more cautious about their beliefs, and always honor the lives of those they admire while they are still alive. Discussions over legacy were also rekindled by the aftermath, with fans asking, "How can we pay tribute to Donnie McClurkin while he is still living? How can we ensure that we express our gratitude before someone has left? More people began listening to his lectures, streaming his music, and expressing love on social media as a result, which spurred a surge of fresh support for his ministry. What was supposed to be a chaotic situation instead strengthened the bond between Donnie McClurkin and his supporters, reminding everyone why his voice is so important. In many ways, the false death rumor became a strange kind of turning point. However, even though Donnie and his fans were able to turn the situation around, the larger problem still persists. Let's move on to the last section of this story. Donnie McClurkin's experience with false death rumors wasn't just another online story to scroll past. How can we prevent these vicious death hoaxes from happening again? And what does McClurkin's story teach us about how we consume and share information in the digital world? It became a mirror held up to society, revealing some unsettling realities about the world we live in today. And if we pay attention, we can learn some powerful lessons. The first is about the peril of false information, as we live in a time when anyone with a phone can spread a story that reaches millions of people. The second lesson is about the fragility of life and legacy. Fans who loved McClurkin were caught in a storm of confusion, pain, and grief because someone chose to exchange lies for clicks. The lesson is straightforward but crucial. Before we hit share, we must ask ourselves, is this true? Where is the source? Am I promoting a lie or am I assisting the spread of truth? The incident served as a reminder to celebrate our heroes now in order to honor their contributions while they are still here to feel them. Even though the rumor was untrue, it made people pause and consider Donnie McClurkin's amazing impact, forcing fans to consider his songs, his sermons, and the way his life has touched millions. All too often, we wait until someone is gone to express our gratitude. The third lesson is about faith and resilience. Donnie McClurkin could have responded with rage or bitterness, lashing out at the blogs, the posts, and the people who spread the rumor, but instead he responded with grace, truth, and perspective. Donnie's ordeal became an unexpected wake-up call, reminding us not to take the people we love for granted. Not only did he deny the rumor, but his response was a sermon in itself, a testament to how to rise above negativity. And finally, this story teaches us about the power of community. He reminded his fans to not dwell on lies but to focus on what matters, live with purpose, hold on to faith, and be vigilant in a world full of distractions and deceit. Supporters of McClurkin demonstrated that love and unity are stronger forces even in the midst of disinformation, as evidenced by the way people came together to celebrate his life while he was still alive. When the rumor spread, fans united in grief, and when the truth came out, they united in celebration. Therefore, even though the story was untrue, the lessons it taught were extremely real.